For this critique, I was given this poster that was meant to promote an annual recycling day. Looking at the poster, it uses a variety of graphics and word fonts to get across its point of keeping the city beautiful through its annual program. To critique this poster, I will rely mostly on the graphic design principles discussed by Connie Malamed in her book, Visual Design Solutions. While I think there are many things that could be corrected with this poster, I will begin with the positives. One of Malamed's design concepts discussed in her book is about adding excitement to the graphic using color and visuals. While this poster does overdo both components, it is generally an exciting poster that I feel gets people excited for the cause. While I do not agree with all the visuals that the designer used in this poster, I do think that the principle of telling a story with visuals is more or less followed. The use of almost universally known recycling symbol immediately lets the audience know the purpose of the poster. It also kind of creates an emotional touch about trying to make a difference in your community. I will say again though, I think the theory of the principle is used correctly, but the execution leaves a little to be desired. Now on to the negative components, which unfortunately were much easier to pick out. While I tried to give the designer the benefit of the doubt for letting the visuals tell a story, it is the overuse of graphics that tie into a couple of the things I find wrong with the poster. First, Malamed's principle and chapter about showing the audience where to look is totally lost on this poster. With the many different fonts and the many different graphics, and even these birds in the bottom left-hand corner, the audience really has a hard time focusing on where to look. The overdone design concepts also tie into my second and third visually incorrect parts of the poster. Malamed said you should establish a visual hierarchy and show your audience where to look. Neither of these concepts are followed here. Other than the really large recycling day, which is a different font than everything else, the eye doesn't know where to go. There is also no indication of what is the important parts of the poster and what is the extra and less important parts of the poster. Finally, Malamed said that for a successful design, you need unifying features. Again, this designer obviously did not go for this design concept in his or her poster. The many different fonts, different colors, and no real thought behind where the graphics are in the poster shows no real unifying factor. So what would I change about the poster? I would do three very easy things. The first would be clean up the poster by taking out some of the unnecessary graphics or words that are less important. For example, the birds here in the bottom left-hand corner or the cutoff box in the top left-hand corner would both be edited out of my new poster. Some of the words would also be edited out due to overcrowding. For example, these yellow words right here about picking up anything useful for a small donation would unfortunately have to leave. Secondly, instead of what seems like random spreading of yes and no items seen here in what I'm circling, I would add a nice column design to unify the design and show the audience where to look. If I wanted to keep this check mark and this X mark, then I certainly could, but I would do that on top of row headings in a unified column. This would allow the reader to know exactly what they could recycle and what they couldn't recycle. Finally, the fonts would be more unified than they are right now. Putting the yes and no recyclable items in a column would eliminate the need for these bold and not bold words, and I could just choose one font. In addition, I could change all the other words to the same color. See how this is green and this is white and these are more of a gray? I could choose one color, and instead of having many different colors, I could play with bold, underline, and even font sizes. This way I could show the reader an actual visual hierarchy that I was going for, and it would direct them where to read and which order to read it in. This is what I would do to correct this poster if I used Malamed's visual design concepts.